Alrighty, s'mores, welcome back to Beyond the Campfire. I am one of your hosts, Steven the Indian, alongside Will the Cowboy. And yeah, we are your favorite cowboy and Indian duo, talking about conspiracy theories, ghost stories, anything that goes bump in the night, anything that you would want to listen to around a campfire. So, again, welcome to Beyond the Campfire. If you don't already follow us, or if this is your first time listening, you can follow us on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Just look up Beyond the Campfire Podcast and you should be able to find us. And with that, Will, what are we talking about today?
Well, me matey, we have decided that we will search for treasure. Today, we are looking for Captain Kidd's buried treasure. His booty, his looty, wherever it be buried.
You are really lucky I did not bring my One Piece hat today. Because, I love pirates. I love pirate stories. As Will just said, we'll be talking about Captain Kidd. For any of our listeners that are One Piece fans like myself, there's actually a version of Captain Kidd in the One Piece anime. I think we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, yeah. We are grabbing our pirate hats and we are searching for booty. We are searching for that treasure. So.
Alrighty, so as I said, today we are talking about Captain Kidd, a well-known pirate. Me and my wife actually learned a little bit about Captain Kidd when we went to Boston and Salem. That is actually where he was captured, and he was known to kind of be around that area a little bit more in New York. But we're going to go a little bit into his life, a little bit about what his treasure may be, and where it may be, matey. Are you ready to set sail on the open seas?
Aye, aye, Captain. Let's take to the seas.
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh. All right. He was born William Kidd in 1645. Okay, we don't know the month. We just know 1645. Now, there's conflicting accounts of where he was possibly born. Captain Kidd was possibly likely born in Dundon, which is in Scotland. And the reason why we kind of think that is because there are some records there of his baptism, as this is the time period he possibly was Catholic, and as you know, the Catholics baptize babies, so if he was baptized here, he possibly was born here.
We got a Scotland theme going on, because we were off the coast of Scotland last week, and now we're back in it this week, so if you are one of our fans that are somehow in Scotland, it's been a good 2 weeks for you.
It really has, matey. Now, he settled soon in New York City when he was just a wee lad. And then, at some point, he actually married a woman. And what's really interesting about this woman is that this kind of might be a little bit of how he got his wealth. This woman's first husband, she had a lot of money. And this woman was only in her early 20s. And guess which husband Kidd was?
Number 2?
Number 3. Her first 2 husbands died.
Golly. How old was she again?
Like early 20s, so like between 20 and 25.
So she had 2 husbands die before she got into her late 20s.
Exactly.
Wow, that is wild. Alright, so, William Kidd, husband number 3. What happens next, Will?
Well, on December 11th, 1695, Richard Coote, who was the first Earl of Belmont and governor of New York, asked Kidd to basically, because so back then, there was pirates, there was privateers. The Kidd was a privateer at first. So in 1695, like I said, Richard kind of came up to him and was like, "Listen, I want you to go to Madagascar in the Indian Ocean, and I want you to hunt down pirates, and I also want you to hunt down the French. Because if there's one thing us Englishmen hate worse than pirates, it's the French."
I was gonna make a French joke, but you know what? I'll say it. Any Frenchmen watching the show? I forgot the joke. It's like what's the French salute? I think you know. That's right. Yeah, the French salute is surrender. There's also a joke about the French flag being the white flag, because you're surrendering. But yeah. So anyway, if you're French or you're in France for whatever reason, I'm sorry. not sorry. Bump the French. Okay, anyway. Oh, we're gonna get canceled one day.
Oh, it's coming soon, me matey. Anyways, so so he got this permission from basically the King of England because the governor kind of gave him permission and said, okay, you're going to become a privateer for the Kingdom of England, and you're going to go kill some pirates and some Frenchmen in the Indian Ocean, and we're going to give you a really cool new ship. And the cool thing about this ship was it actually had oars, which meant like if you're in a fighting stance with another ship, back then if the wind died, you were kind of both sitting ducks, but this ship had oars, so he can kind of like rotate himself so that it was easily more maneuverable in battle. So the way that this privateering would work for Kidd is he would go down there, he would plunder and kill and loot any French ship, any pirate ship, and then whatever he got, he could keep 90% of it for him and his crew. 10% would go to the Crown of England. Okay? That sounds like a pretty good deal to me, you know? It's like you get to go out, plunder, kill, loot, have a good old swashbuckling time, and all you gotta do is pay 10% of what you get.
Yeah, I mean that is a good deal. I mean, have you seen the tax rates we have these days? So yeah, I mean, getting to keep 90% of what you had, like, what a deal, man! What a deal.
Yes, so this, although didn't go very well for Kidd, and this is why he kind of became a pirate. So in September of 1696, my bad, he set course for Cape of Good Hope. Now, while at the Cape of Good Hope, on one of the islands of, I'm going to mispronounce this word, Comoros. It's an island off of Western Africa. No, Eastern Africa. Off the coast of Eastern Africa is these islands. While on them islands, 1/3 of his crew actually died of cholera.
Wow, 1/3 is crazy. I think of our friend group, and if 1/3 of our friend group died, I was just like, that's devastating. That's like, if you had 15 people in a friend group, and 5 of them died, that's not a small number, so crazy.
Yeah, so like I said, right, kind of backtracking a little bit, as we said, Kidd kind of became a privateer, and honestly, you might be thinking, okay, well, why, like, the gold sounds great, but why did Kidd actually accept it? And it's because, like, at the time, kind of, Kidd, if he had said basically no to the crown, he's kind of disloyal looking, and nobody would want to be friends with him, so it's kind of a status symbol. So you kind of got to think about the way, like, when we're talking about the downfall of Kidd and what led into piracy, and it just, he really got a bad dealing of bad luck. Because not only did he lose 1/3 of his crew, the cool ship they gave him had leaks. And then on top of that, while they were sailing around Madagascar in the Indian Ocean, they couldn't find pirates or French. So they weren't getting a lot of good, you know, capturing ships and stuff, because there wasn't any good ships to capture. And on top of that, like, so on top of that, that basically meant that couldn't really cover the cost of everything going on. So Kidd was kind of going a little bankrupt a little bit, kind of losing money. So not only were they not finding ships, but they were also failing to attack certain ships because, you know, he's sitting there and all of a sudden he sees a Dutchman and a New York privateer sailing by. He can't do anything about that because 2 reasons. One, he's under New York's governor to be a privateer. So why attack a New York ship when those are the guys paying you? And as well, the King of England is Dutch born. And and the Dutch are not really their enemies, so it's like that would be piracy. So he kind of sails around, not having a great time, right? Well, then goes to port, and while at port, a good majority of his crew deserts him.
Okay, so he's lost 1/3 of his crew. He's having a hard time finding ships to loot. And now a lot of his crew deserts him. Yeah, he's in a... Yeah, that's maybe not quite rock bottom, but almost there.
Well, yeah, because, you know, you got a leaky boat. Okay, 1/3 of your crew died. And then the rest of your crew decide to leave. You're not finding any boats. You're kind of failing to attack ships. And then it gets worse because the remaining crew, every now and then, will threaten you with mutiny.
Sheesh. Okay, so he might be at rock bottom, or at least close to it.
No, he is now at rock bottom because on October 30th of 1697, after all of this that has happened, William Moore, who was a gunner, he was sharpening himself with a little chisel, shooting the breeze, and all of a sudden this Dutch ship was spotted sailing by. Remember I told you we can't really attack the Dutch because they're not at war with England. See, England was at war with France, and that's why privateering, you could actually attack a French ship while privateering for England because you're technically at war with that country. However, if you're not at war with that country, attacking that ship, that's an act of piracy. So, and then also we said that the King of England, William III, was Dutch-born. So it's kind of like a double whammy. So Moore was like, hey, Captain Kidd, we're sucking right now, right? We've got all these problems going on. Let's attack that ship. And, well, Kidd said no. And he called him... Well, sorry. I forgot that I didn't write down fully what Kidd said because it was a long list and I didn't have the time to do that. So,
while you look it up,
yeah,
I could throw in a little One Piece action for some of our fans there. So Captain Kidd, I'm actually not really seeing a lot of parallels with the Captain Kidd we see in One Piece. However, if I had to suspect, it sounds like he's going to become pretty ruthless later on.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say about the One Piece Captain Kidd is if you've watched the anime, the Captain Kidd in the anime is very ruthless. He's known for being cutthroat, not having a lot of compassion. And so, well, take us away with the real life.
So back to this. So the guy's chiseling, and he's like, "Hey, why don't we attack that Dutch ship?" As you guys know, we can't. So Kidd said to him, "No, you lousy dog." And Moore clapped back, "If I'm a lousy dog, you have made me so. You have brought me to ruin and many more."
This has the energy of saying like, "You dirty scalawag," or something like that.
You lousy dog. And, well, let's just say, Kidd didn't like the way he kind of blamed him for everything. So what did Kidd do? He took an iron-bound bucket. If you don't know what an iron-bound bucket is, it is a bucket, and like it's just wooden, like wooden slats, and then like a iron rim around it. And Kidd took the bucket, swung the bucket, hit Moore upside the head, and shattered his skull.
That is well, that's one way to get revenge or let out your anger, I suppose. But yeah, Captain Kidd, ladies and gentlemen.
Moore survived, and
he survived? That's crazy. Okay, I need to hear this.
For about a day.
At that point, I feel like I just want to die. You know, you have your skull smashed in, you're probably in a lot of pain. I'd just be like, Lord, why am I alive? I was like, just take me. So, man, poor Moore.
It's like one thing to like die, but it's another thing to get killed by a bucket. So anyways, here's the tricky thing about privateering and about this is since Kidd had killed him, technically speaking, 17th century English admiralty law, okay, it kind of allowed captains kind of some leeway when it came to using violence against their crew. So like, when your dad smacked you upside the head for being stupid, a captain could do that back then. However, a captain could not kill his crewmates. That was a little pushing the line. So, because Kidd did this, kind of pushed him a little bit towards piracy.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I was on someone's crew, or if I was working for, a boss, and I see him kill one of my fellow crew members or a fellow employee, I'd be like, shoot, man, when am I next? So I'm looking to get on the next ride out of town. I was like, this is not someone I want to continue being on a ship with or working for.
Yeah, so not only did Kidd kill his crewmate, as well, there were escaped prisoners who escaped capture from Kidd and escaped being a prisoner of Kidd when he was capturing these ships. And a lot of them had reported that they were being hoisted up by the arms and drugged, which is thrashed, with a drawn cutlass by Kidd. So he was torturing people too. And apparently on one occasion, Kidd's crew sacked the trading ship Mary and tortured several crew members while Kidd and Captain Thomas Parker conversed privately in Kidd's cabin. So you were right. Not only did Kidd kill one of his crewmates, he tortured prisoners with a cutlass by cutting them. And yeah.
Yeah, Cutthroat. So, yeah, just background information for you guys. I mean, I don't know really much about the real life Captain Kidd at all, and this episode is very much informing me. But yeah, like I said, I did know the One Piece Captain Kidd, and yeah, I'm seeing the similarities, man. They're just cutthroat. We're gonna do what we need to do to advance the crew, and yeah, if it involves some murder, if it involves some torture, if it involves some pillaging, so be it. They do it. So wild.
Yeah, so because of this, he was kind of accused of being a pirate early into these voyages because of the cruelty, because of all this, by a Royal Navy officer after Kidd had kind of promised the guy 30 men or so. Being afraid, Kidd kind of sailed away, taking his men, kind of keeping them away from imprisonment. But the letter of marque, which is the letter he kind of received from the crown, sort of protected him and his crew from imprisonment because they were operating for the crown. However, he would no longer have the protection of England anymore after what was fixing to happen. And this is when he really became a swashbuckling pirate.
Man, yeah, I mean, up to this point, he's had a tough run of things, but yeah, I'm wondering, like, man, where's that tipping point, So,
well, Kidd's fixing to become a pirate because on January 30th of 1698, he raised French colors on his ship, and he captured the 400-ton Quade Merchant, which was an Indian ship hired by Armenian merchants, right? So this ship was not just any ship. It was loaded with valuable goods, such as satins, muslins, which is a type of cotton fabric, gold, silver, and silk. So this ship was filthy rich, okay? The ship's captain, Wright, had French sea passes from the French East India Company, promising protection under the French crown. Kidd kept the French passes and the ship itself and renamed it Adventure Prize. So he had his first ship, and now he has this way bigger ship, lots more money, and sea passes to kind of sail under the French crown if he wanted to. How do you think England reacts to that?
Well, considering that they hired him to be a privateer to attack the French, and now he's raising up French colors, yeah, I'd imagine England was not a happy camper about this at all.
Yeah, so he killed his crewmate, okay? He tortured prisoners, and now he just captured a French merchant ship from the French India Company. And what did England say to that? You're a pirate, Kidd, you're a pirate. So they labeled him as a pirate, and then naval commanders were then ordered and sent out to pursue and seize Kidd and his crew for all these notorious piracies they were committing.
Wow. Considering the tough... I'm not endorsing piracy, but I think I understand a little bit of why Captain Kidd's like, well, before when I was a privateer, I'm limited to attacking only these certain ships. As a pirate, I can attack whoever I want and make a lot more money, so why be a privateer when I can be a pirate? Now, of course, the answer would be, when you're a privateer, you have the protection of the Crown of England. When you're a pirate, now England's against you. So, I mean, pros and cons, I guess. He chose what benefits he wanted and what cons he wanted, and yeah, but man, what a start to his pirate journey. So, Will, tell me he's a pirate now, officially.
Mm-hmm.
England doesn't like him. What does he do next?
Well, he sails around the seven seas, looting, plundering, and killing. And he actually made a voyage to Madagascar on April 1st of 1698, so shortly after he captured the merchant ship. And he met with a trader named Tempest Rogers, who would later be accused of dealing Kidd's looted goods. So he kind of took this stuff, went to this guy, kind of did some dealings with him. As well, around this time on his voyage to Madagascar, he encountered the pirate Robert Culliford. Now, there are contradictory accounts of what this interaction with Culliford was like, because Culliford had actually previously stolen Kidd's ship in Antigua. Okay? But the general history of pirates, which is not spelled like pirates, it's spelled Pyrates, pirates, which was published 25 years after this event, claims Kidd made peaceful overtures to Culliford, giving him a gift of an anchor and guns. In Richard Zacks, The Pirate Hunter, Kidd is said to have been initially reluctant to attack Culliford's Mocha frigate due to being undermanned, and later attempted to attack only after reinforcements arrived. Zacks also claims that Kidd's crew refused to attack Culliford, even threatened to shoot him. Okay, so he kind of was in Madagascar doing some dealings with some people, and kind of came across a guy who kind of stole shit from him. We don't really kind of know what happens. We have a couple theories. Like I said, either they were nice to each other or they kind of went to war.
So Kidd was in Madagascar just doing stuff, huh? Okay. I guess you could say that Kidd liked to move it. Alright, sorry. Next one, go ahead.
Now, either way, both of these accounts of his interaction with Culliford actually agree that basically all of his crew abandoned Kidd. And Kidd was left with only 13 men with him on the Adventure Galley, which was that gigantic French ship they stole previously. So he was left with a 13-man crew.
Alright, so I'm starting to notice a consistent theme. It seems like whether he was a privateer or a pirate, not a lot of guys were willing to continue to be with this guy. But yeah.
Yeah, so with his small loyal crew, he kind of decided to just give it all up and return home. And he left the Adventure Galley behind because it kind of was getting worn down. He salvaged metal parts from the ship, and he burned it. Okay. He then sailed to the Caribbean aboard Adventure Prize. Sorry, I left this out. Adventure Galley was the first ship he got when he was privateering. So he got rid of that ship, stripped it of its metal parts, set it on fire. He then sailed to the Caribbean aboard Adventure Prize. That was his capture ship that he renamed. And stopped at St. Augustine's Bay for the repairs he needed for the ship. Now, in 1698, there was something called the Act of Grace, which would offer pardons to pirates who were operating in the Indian Ocean. Except this excluded Kidd. It excluded Kidd and another guy by the name of Henry Every because of Kidd's association with prominent Whig statesmen. So because of his association with the governor of New York and all this, he couldn't be pardoned like other pirates. So he learned about this, and he learned about this when he arrived in Angola.
This guy really just does have the worst luck. Like, you have this law that allows pardons for pretty much everybody except you. Like, come on, man. So
yeah, so he kind of a little bit gave up the whole pirate thing. He decided to go back to New York. And as he was sailing up there, that's where he kind of stopped off in Gardiner's Island of New York, which is where people think this is kind of where the whole theory of the treasure kind of comes from. So they believe that Kidd kind of dropped off his treasure here in Gardiner's Island and then sailed to New York. Well, while he was in New York, he was kind of led by his good old friend, the governor, up to Boston, where he was soon and quickly captured by the English and was then sent back to England.
Golly, so I guess he didn't have his green card or something, getting deported back, so... Man, okay. He's captured, he's back to England. What's next? What happens to him?
So, in 1699, that was when he was captured. And in the process, the governor decided to go to Gardiner's Island, which we'll get into a little bit about Gardiner's Island, to try to find the treasure, to take it back, to kind of be like, here's proof that he was a pirate, although... it varies because nobody really knows if this is true, if he actually found the treasure. Either way, Kidd's story comes to an end in 1701, where he was hanged in England for piracy. So that's kind of the whole story of Kidd.
I'm curious about his treasure.
Yeah. So that's what we're getting into. So the reason why I talk about Captain Kidd was I want to give you guys some backstory to kind of understand who Captain Kidd was, what this treasure could be, and a lot of people believe that the treasure is from the Adventure Prize. That was the ship he captured from the French in the Indian Ocean, And that's what a lot of people think the treasure is all the stuff that he gathered from the Adventure Prize.
Neat. And I mean, it's one of those things where he went to a lot of places. I mean, I heard you mention Angola. I heard you mention Madagascar. He was attacking, I guess this was back in his privateering days, but like he was attacking French ships and he was starting to attack, you said English ships as well, right? So like he was just, who knows how much treasure he got from all of those places. Which, I mean, I guess you're about to tell me, so I'm sure someone knows, but like, man. Yeah, I'd imagine he probably became very wealthy with all these adventures he went on.
Now, the first kind of, it's actually not written on my paper of one of the theories, but this is one of the theories that it is on the, I think it's called Oak Island. If you've ever seen the Dad Show out there, where they're looking for the treasure on Oak Island in Nova Scotia, some people kind of in the first episode was mentioned about Billy the Kid, or not Billy the Kid, Captain Kidd, wrong kid. However, that theory did not really pan out. So, we have got several different locations I have gone through, and we've got theories, the reasonings, and what the current status of that place is. We'll go through each one. I hear what you think, and we'll get through this. All right. So, the first theory is Gardiner's Island. As I mentioned, Gardiner's Island, New York. The reason it is believed Kidd buried some of his treasure here off the coast of Long Island. The reason why was Kidd was known to have stopped on this island to rest and resupply several times. There are historical reports that suggest he paid for provisions with gold, which could indicate a hidden treasure. The current status of this, though, is various treasure hunters have explored the island, but no treasure has been found. Some argue that the treasure might have been moved or looted long ago.
I like this theory. It felt like in a lot of ways Kidd's home base of operations was in New York in some sense. And yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he put the treasure on Gardiner's Island? Now, as far as it being previously looted, yeah, I mean, that's a fair shake. So far I like this theory, but I know there's other ones. Let's get into it.
The next location is the Caribbean. As we know, he kind of sailed there. He was actually known during his privateering days and some during his piracy days to kind of have sailed around there. So the theory goes that he might have buried his treasure on one of the islands in the Caribbean, especially given the pirate activity in that region. As I stated, he kind of sailed extensively there during his privateering and pirating days. The idea is that he might have hidden some of his loot on remote islands, including those in the Bahamas or around the Virgin Islands. Treasure hunters have searched the Caribbean for Kidd's treasure, but no solid evidence has been found to date.
Yeah, I guess with the Gardiner's Island theory is, I think that might have been a little bit too obvious, but at least with the Caribbeans, I mean, there's several Caribbean islands. He probably had a few places. I mean, depending on how much treasure he had, he might have had multiple treasures and kind of hid them in multiple places. So, okay, I could see that one being the case. All right, let's hear the next one.
So the next theory we have, and I'm going to kind of go with some of the more prominent theories, and then I'll kind of get into some of the more ridiculous theories, because again, the treasure is kind of was started as a rumor. The treasure could exist, it could not exist. If it does exist, these are the places we think it could be. The next place is the Bay of Honduras. Kidd is also believed to have hidden part of his treasure in the Bay of Honduras near the coast of Central America. Some of Kidd's ships sailed through this region, and it was a known hiding place for pirates during the 17th century. Current status is this theory has been explored by some treasure hunters, but no major finds have been reported. I kind of don't really like that theory. I definitely think the Caribbean and the New York theory are the more two prominent theories. And then I'll let you talk, and then I'll get into it.
Yeah, I mean, that one's possible, maybe, but I don't know. I definitely do like the Gardiner's Island and the Caribbean theories better. But, you know, who knows? Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's get into the next ones.
So the next theory is that it's actually off the coast of Madagascar. And I actually have something because people thought they found the treasure off the coast of Madagascar. So the theory suggests that Kidd might have hidden the treasure off the coast of Madagascar. The reason for this is because during his pirating career, he reached Madagascar, and the island was known for being a pirate haven of sorts. He had a ship there, and it's possible he hid treasure during his stay. Now, like I said, there was something found off the coast of Madagascar that people thought could lead to the treasure.
Was it a group of zoo animals that had escaped from New York? I'm just sorry, guys. I really love the movie Madagascar. I have to make the references. So, what was it? What led people to think it was there?
What people thought is they thought they found a silver bar. They found a silver bar off the coast, and they figured this is part of Captain Kidd's treasure. But I've got sad news.
What's the sad news?
The bar that was thought to be silver was tested and turned out to just be a bar of lead.
Ah, that sucks, man. Okay. Madagascar, Caribbean, Honduras, New York. What are the other theories?
We got two more. The next location is the thought that it was in Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. This possessed that Kidd hid treasure on Martha's Vineyard, an island off the coast of Massachusetts, because there were stories that Kidd was known to have kind of visited the area, and he kind of had ties to the local traders who might have been complicit in hiding his treasure, kind of like accomplices in hiding the treasure. There have been no confirmed discoveries. However, some treasure hunters believe Kidd may have left some of his riches on the island. So it might not all be all the treasure, but some treasure hunters believe that it could be.
Okay, gotcha. So we are... Yeah, I felt like the first two theories I liked a lot. I felt like the ones after that, I feel like I'm liking them less and less, but... Yeah, I mean, hey, we gotta talk about them, right? So let's get to the next one.
The second to last theory before the one that if the treasure is real, there's a theory I truly believe in. That's the one I'm going to get to at the end. But the second to last theory is it's in Tombigbee River, Alabama. So some reports suggest Kidd may have hidden his treasure along the Tombigbee River in Alabama. It comes from the stories that Kidd may have come inland to hide his plunder away from authorities and rival pirates. You know, pirates are in the oceans, the authorities are kind of in the ocean. What if I went up a river? However, there have been no solid findings in this region, and it remains one of the more speculative theories.
I don't like this theory, not because I think it's bad, but because it involves Alabama, and I am an Alabama hater. So, sorry, any Alabama people watching this episode, but yeah, that's just me. I'm not gonna say go Dogs because I'm not really a Georgia fan, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the Crimson Tide. So, anyway, I digress.
The final theory is the idea that maybe the treasure isn't in one location, that he possibly took the treasure from the Quade merchant ship and put it in multiple locations to avoid detection. The reason for this is after seizing his valuable ship, Kidd may have buried portions of his cargo at various stops along his voyage, such as the Indian Ocean or even near Madagascar. While treasure hunters have scoured parts of the Indian Ocean and surrounding areas, no substantial treasure has ever been uncovered.
Yeah, and I like that one because it combines a few different theories, but that's kind of what I think. I think he had a lot of treasure. I don't think it made sense to put it all in one place. You know, this Kidd was not building the one piece, right? He wasn't building this one vast treasure. I think it made more sense for him to scatter it to a few different places. So, yeah, is that all the theories?
Well, there is one more thing. So, we have talked about Kidd, right? Kidd was this very notorious pirate. I didn't really cover much of what he's done, but Kidd was known for being torturous, and he kind of had this reputation and this legend built around him. That is why, while many of these theories exist regarding the location of Captain Kidd's treasure, no one has ever definitively found it. Some historians believe that the treasure is purely a myth, exaggerated by Kidd's legend. However, the allure of hidden pirate treasure continues to drive treasure hunters and capture the imagination of many. So, Kidd's treasure could be out there, or it could just be part of this growing legend of how badass Captain Kidd was.
So what I'm hearing is, the One Piece is real. No, I'm just kidding.
Nerd. Anyways, that is Captain Kidd's treasure. Where do you think the treasure be? Do you think it be real? Do you think it be buried in your own backyard?
I think it's real. And I think it's probably, most of it probably was on Gardiner's Island. And it's just been looted by people. I think probably other places he put it, I think he probably spread it out through some other parts of the Americas and the Caribbean. I don't know if he put any in Madagascar because I don't know why he would No offense, Madagascarians, but yeah, I don't think Madagascar is a place he would leave it. So that's my theory. I think most of it was in Gardner's Island, and he probably had some other parts of it hidden throughout the U.S. and the Caribbean.
Yeah, the reason he did in Madagascar, as I said earlier, is because he kind of actually stopped there at one point. So, and it was a known pirate haven, so he possibly could have stopped there. I like the Gardner Island theory. I don't think Kidd probably kind of kept most of the wealth. If he did, and the treasure be true, I think it could be scattered around. But I do like the Gardner Island theory. I think that's the best theory. And I think maybe he could have hid some on Madagascar because, as we know, he went there. You know, there's no telling what could happen if the treasure is even real. But we all know that the adventure the whole time was the friends we made along the way.
Oh no. It's funny you say that. Some people think in the pirate anime that I watch, One Piece, that the One Piece is not really actually a treasure, it's the friends you made along the way. And I'm like, if that's what the One Piece is, I'm gonna be so mad. But I gotta throw this in there because there are One Piece fans. But Captain Kidd, I know we're getting a little short on time. Will, do you know what a devil fruit is? I don't know if I told you this before.
Something nerdy, isn't it?
It is something nerdy. Okay, so in One Piece, you have the pirates, but, you know, because it's an anime, they have to throw in something else. But in One Piece world, there's these things called devil fruits. And if you eat a devil fruit, you get like a superpower, but you can't swim anymore. So all of the different pirates usually have a devil fruit. There's a few that don't, but most of them have it. But Kidd's devil fruit, Captain Kidd in the One Piece anime, his devil fruit, when he eats it, he gets the power to, like, attract metal to himself. And so one of the cool things he does in that show is, like, he'll attract, like, swords and cannonballs, and he'll just, like, make this gigantic metal arm, and he'll just, like, attack things like that. So anyway, I had to be nerdy for a second there. The real-life Captain Kidd didn't do all that stuff, but, you know, fake Captain Kidd in One Piece could do that, so... Had to put that in there. So.
Anyways, ye mateys, we thank you for sailing along with us, and we hope you had a great time on this adventure. May ye find the treasure ye be looking for, and have a good one, ye mateys. Arrgh!
There you go. Find the One Piece, and maybe I find love one day. Alright, let's end the episode.
Stephen, that be treasure ye never found. Stephen, that be treasure ye will never find.
I'm out, y'all. Bye.